Good day, everyone, and welcome to ICRA's webinar on Indian IT service industry, decoding the digital transformation. Mr. Shamsher Diwan, Group Head and VP Corporate Ratings, along with his team, will take you through the presentation. The presentation is followed by a Q&A session with the participants. Over to you, Mr. Shamsher.
Thank you, Anju. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to ICRA's webinar on the Indian IT sector. It is really a pleasure today to have with us Ms. Priyamvada Hardikar. Let me introduce her to you. She is Senior Vice President and Head Corporate Finance and Governance at KPIT Technologies Limited. She has been with KPIT in leadership position for the last 12 to 13 years now. She has significant experience and draws really a lot of strength for listed company compliances and setting up best practices in the areas of corporate accounting and finance function. Recently, she was also awarded Pune's Women Leader at the Women World Leadership Congress, which was held in July 2021. And also she has been awarded the Best Women in Finance for 2018 at the CFO Executive Leadership Summit. We are also expecting Mr. Navneet Khandelwal, the Chief Financial Officer of Zensar Technologies, to also join us shortly.
Mr. Navneet Khandelwal has joined.
All right. Good afternoon, sir. A chartered accountant by profession, Mr. Khandelwal is a seasoned finance leader with over 22 years of industry experience. At Zensar, he has been instrumental in financial management, operation controls, setting up various business processes, such as transformation of shared services, and even integration of various acquisitions. Prior to joining Zensar, he was the CFO of Wipro's digital business, wherein he was directly responsible for scaling up Wipro's digital business as a leader. He's actively involved in various CFO forums as a speaker. Thank you very much, Ms. Priyamvada Hardikar and Mr. Khandelwal for joining this conference. Let me also introduce to you my colleagues on the call, Ms. Kinjal Shah. She is Co-Group Head, Corporate Sector Ratings, and Mr. Gaurav Jain. He is the Sector Head and the author of our recent coverage on the IT sector. Now, our presentation today, besides focusing on the usual trends in the IT sector and sharing our outlook overall for fiscal 2022, will also focus on the digital transformation and how that is changing the prospects for IT sector in India. Now, without much delay, I'll now like to hand over the presentation to Gaurav to share his thoughts. Over to you, Gaurav.
Thank you, Shamsher, and welcome all guest speakers. We start off with the IT services webinar. So here is a brief agenda for today's webinar. We are going to cover three sections. The first is on digital adoption. Second is on the trends in the IT services industry. And finally, we'll end up with ICRA's outlook. So COVID-19 has led to change in the way businesses have to operate, interactions between institutions, employer-employee, as well as with customers. Among the major changes include non-human touch interactions, digital supply chain till last mile connectivity with minimal human intervention and remote work from home. While these technologies were available earlier and implemented by few, pandemic accelerated the adoption of digital technologies. Investment in digital continue to move from front end, that is providing user experience, to back end, which is modernize, replace their core legacy system with increase in size of budgets. So overall, COVID-19 has accelerated the need for digital adoption in the last 6 to 12 months. As per an industry survey conducted over 278 corporate respondents in December 2020, approximately 62% of the respondents are increasing their digital investments, while 29% continue to maintain investments in digital technologies over the next 18 months. The trend was uniform across different regions, except for Middle East and Africa, which saw higher cuts in digital spending. The trend of higher digital investments was visible across key end user industries. BFSI and manufacturing industry, which contributes 41%, and 16% of the Indian IT services export revenues saw continuation or increase in digital investments. The trend was visible across other key sectors such as healthcare, retail, and consumer packaged goods, as well as telecom, though travel and hospitality was adversely impacted. We move on to the next slide discussing key trends driving digital absorption. There are 4 trends which are driving digital absorption. Among them, automation has become a key tool to save cost on legacy technologies and drive digital spends in the current pandemic environment. Furthermore, DevOps model, which enable collaboration between discrete business functions for managing rapid application delivery and operation at scale, has become even more relevant in the current distributed remote work environment and for implementation of cloud-related services. The pandemic has also sharply accelerated the on-premise to cloud movement as businesses focus on CapEx savings and move to an OpEx model. Further, the pandemic has threatened business survival, forcing enterprises to adopt modern as-a-service applications over current legacy on-premise software to make themselves competitive. Adoption of 5G will support development of applications such as Internet of Things, augmented reality, virtual reality, and robotics across B2B and B2C segments, boosting demand for IT services industry as it will involve considerable design, development, and testing work. The share of digital is expected to dramatically increase going forward. We now move on to the global trends in IT outsourcing. In H1 of the current calendar year 2021, the traditional ACV grew 15% after seeing sluggish growth over the last 3 years. Digital business witnessed unprecedented momentum in light of the pandemic, leading to services for migration to cloud-based infrastructure as a service and software as a service solution, as well as modifying traditional application development maintenance services through infusion of analytics and artificial intelligence. Overall, ICRA expects the traditional outsourcing industry to grow at a healthy 9% in calendar year 2021. The next slide shows the growth trajectory for digital and non-digital revenues for ICRA sample of 6 companies. Digital revenues have been growing healthy, compensating for pricing pressure and low demand for non-digital revenues. Indian IT companies in the past 5 to 6 years have made significant investments, both organic and inorganic, to close the gap with larger global companies, as also reflected in increased overall share of digital in their revenue mix. The share of digital revenues have increased from 33% to 44% over the last FY 2019-2021 period, though ICRA notes that it still lags behind international peers, which derives more than 60% revenues from such technologies. ICRA expects the share of digital technologies for Indian companies to further increase from current levels, with increased focus on automation, cost efficiency improvement, cybersecurity and cloud migration, aimed at improving business processes and customer experiences. We now move on to the next slide, which is trends in IT services industry. During Q1 of FY 2022, ICRA sample companies grew by 19.1% in INR terms, while in US dollar terms it grew by 16%, supported by pent-up demand from last year. On a sequential basis, the US dollar growth has improved over the last 5 quarters. The growth from Q4 FY 2020 onwards was impacted due to the initial impact of COVID. Also, Indian IT services companies have increased investments in digital infrastructure like Center of Excellence, labs, and design centers to showcase capabilities, coupled with several acquisitions to augment their user consumer design capabilities, which supports growth. We move on to the profit margins. The margins during FY 2021 remained strong owing to INR depreciation and lower overhead cost as offices were closed with minimal traveling. In FY 2021, the INR depreciated by approximately 4.7%, 7.7%, 9.8% year on year vis-a-vis US dollar, sterling pound and euro respectively, which supported growth in INR terms. US and Europe collectively contributes 85% of the industry revenues, and with such steep depreciation, the profit margins were also positively impacted. The margins, though, remain adversely impacted on account of pricing pressure on commoditized offerings. With higher employee costs due to wage inflation, the Q1 FY22 margins have tapered slightly, and ICRA expects the margins to revert to pre-COVID levels by FY23 as companies resume normal working and travel. Moving on to the fixed price and time and material contracts. In order to protect margins, companies have been deploying various operating levers, including higher employee utilization, higher share of fixed price contracts, as well as improving revenue per employee. Higher share of fixed price contracts allow scope for better utilization of manpower across such projects. The share of fixed price contracts have increased from 58.5% in FY 2019 to 63% in FY 2021, and ICRA expects that this trend is expected to continue in the near to medium term. Coming to trends in employee and net additions. After 2 quarters of negative employee additions seen during Q4 FY 2020 and Q1 of FY 2021, the same has turned positive from Q2 of FY 2022 onwards and has shown increasing trend indicating strong demand build-up for IT services. Indian IT companies are also improving their manpower utilization through fewer idle manpower and performance management. Higher employee utilization amid pandemic was due to sudden demand recovery post-pandemic with delayed hiring. However, ICRA does not expect the employee utilization to improve materially from current levels. With strong demand for digital technologies, there has been an uptick in attrition, though it remains lower than pre-COVID levels. ICRA expects the attrition rates to move up in the near future, which will lead to higher wage inflation and consequently will have an adverse impact on margins. With the visa issuance norms being tightened in USA over the last 3 to 4 years by restricting the entry of entry-level programmers, coupled with increasing compliance and evidence requirements, adding to cost pressures, Indian companies have started to ramp up onshore hiring in USA over the last 3 to 4 years. However, with new US administration from Feb 21, majority of the new rules, such as hike in minimum wages, redefining eligibility criteria, has been put on hold. Denial rates, which stood high during October 2019 to June 2020 at 21%, though dropped to 1.5% in July to September 2020 quarter, owing to a court ruling rescinding certain changes made by USCIS in Feb 2018 for approving H-1B visa petition. Overall, ICRA expects relatively lenient H-1B visa regime under the new administration, leading to balanced onshore and offshore hiring. We move on to the next section, outlook. Revenue growth for ICRA sample of Indian IT services companies in FY 2022 estimated at 9 to 10% in US dollar terms and 6 to 9% in FY 2023, led by strong demand for digital technologies. Growth in FY 2022 to be supported by pent-up demand of FY 2021, which was lower due to initial impact of COVID-19. Operating profit margins to remain healthy, led by accelerated shift towards digital and continued focus on generating operational efficiencies. Operating margins to slightly moderate in FY 2022-23 compared to FY 2021, owing to wage inflation and reversal of lower overhead costs in FY 2021. We move on to the capital structure and cash flow indicators. So overall, ICRA has a stable outlook on the Indian IT services industry, underpinned by its ability to generate healthy free cash flows. ICRA's sample set of companies have always demonstrated net cash position with healthy liquidity available on balance sheet. ICRA also expects the companies to distribute 75 to 85% of the profits in the form of dividends and share buybacks, in line with past few years' trends. We move on to the rating action slide. ICRA has a total of 39 entities rated under IT services and BPO sector, with 95% of the entities under IT services. Approximately 82% of the rated entities are in investment grade. This is a reflection of healthy cash flow generation led by higher profit margins and low working capital requirements. Further, with low capex requirements, entities in the industry have been generating free cash flows, leading to net cash position and liquid investments. The downgrades have been primarily for entities which derive a large portion of the revenues from domestic market with elongated payment cycles. ICRA has not downgraded any ratings nor revised any rating outlook to negative for IT services industry entities owing to COVID-19 impact. With this, I end my presentation. I hand over to Ms. Kinjal Shah for a round of Q&A with our esteemed guest speakers.
Yeah, thanks, Gaurav, and welcome, Ms. Priya and Mr. Navneet. So from the presentation, I would like to pick up certain points, and I would like to pose the question to you to understand your outlook on the same. So as Gaurav mentioned, the COVID-19 has accelerated the adoption of digital technologies. So in your view, what is the demand outlook? I mean, is it expected to sustain over the medium term, and what is the growth outlook for the IT outsourcing industry? If Ms. Priya, I could have the answer from you first, and then I can move to Mr. Khandelwal.
Sure. So I think the demand will continue to rise. Fundamentally, in our type of industry, especially automobile industry, it is going through a lot of disruption right now. As we see that now the car will be more software led than the actual, fundamentally hardcore hardware driven led. The software led car fundamentally will do, because the number of car sales will drop, but the differentiating factor for the OEMs is going to be the software features, and that is where the demand will continue to rise. What we see in the industry, particularly, even the trade pundits have also said that this demand will go to an extent that it will about 35% CAGR growth that we see in automobile software. For example, the number of the software-led car that I said, the number of codes that a software-led car will have will be at least 1,000 times more than what the code will be written for a cell phone, for example. So the industry itself is going through a paradigm shift. If I have to really relate to a user, I think our behavioral pattern also are changing. People are looking for more environmental friendly cars, so that electrification is on the rise. Battery driven cars are on the rise. Many government regulations are also enforcing that by 2030 or 2035 there will be so much percentage of electrification that will happen. So it is not only the push from the regulatory authorities, the behavioral pattern or the preferences, as we call it, is also changing. People now also don't look at it as a luxury. Sometimes they say that I don't want to own it, I want to rather rent it. So the pattern of ownership is also will change. So the entire industry is going through a disruption, and I think the software industry is particularly very well poised to take the advantage of this growth. Software offshoring, particularly, as Gaurav mentioned in his presentation, will be on the rise, and I think the IT industry overall in India will seek these results in a very positive phase. And they will have this low hanging fruits, and I am sure they will also reap the benefits of this paradigm change within the overall external environment in the automobile sector industry. So that's the vision I think I can share on the overall industry market trends, and I'm absolutely positive. We don't see it changing down to any levels of negativity. In fact, the change is so paradigm that some sort of a disruption also will be able to take care, and it will not move around what we saw last year. I think we are better equipped to handle even the crisis situation now. all of us went through that cycle. I think we are in a far better, poised to handle the growth. The demand side is rising. I think the particular question or the key for IT industry will be on the supply side and not on the demand side, in my view. I think the demand will be there, demand will be growing. Because there is a demand, there will be a lot of players, and I think the competitive positioning will be important. And therefore, the supply side, that is, servicing at the right time and accuracy. The accuracy of servicing will play a huge role. So it is not actually the overall demand, whether it is there or not. There are, it is there. The demand will be there, and all the industry players will see a phenomenal rise in their overall pipeline. Like I said, the key is going to be the supply. I think the supply side will hold the key to the growth that will actually translate into financial numbers, is the view I have. And over to Navneet.
Yeah, sure, ma'am. I think we'll come back to the issue on the supply side as well.
Sure.
But ma'am, just a follow-up question on this. Would you be able to quantify or give a number for the growth outlook for the onshoring industry that you mentioned about?
See, that's what I said. See, the industry itself, the automobile industry and the software development automobile industry, that demand, that means the R&D spends that these large companies, that is going phenomenally. If you look at the industry trends, you will always see the large OEM is spending more billions, and they're investing more billions in their R&D activities of electrification or any other, or autonomous, for example. Right from Teslas of the world, everybody is committed for that spend. So there is a spend. Now, in terms of actually how will it translate for IT industry in India, like I said, the key will hold to the competency here. Who has the capability to deliver will grow, and that is where overall positioning will really matter. So I can't really represent how the IT industry will fare, but I will definitely say that in this era of disruption, the IT industry is very well poised for growth.
Sure. Thank you. Mr. Khandelwal, I'll come to you, and maybe if you could answer the same question, as in your view, what is the medium-term expectation of the growth outlook for the IT outsourcing industry? Do you also expect the demand to sustain or improve going forward?
Yeah, sure. Actually, what is important to understand as to what is driving this. Okay. Even Gaurav covered that. There has been a significant acceleration in digital post the pandemic. But why are the companies doing it? It's also because it's becoming a question of survival for most of the companies. Some of the drivers which include why there is an acceleration towards digital transformation is building resiliency in your business models and operations so that you are able to operate effectively and profitably. Second element is, how are they reimagining customer experience? This is becoming a matter of survival because, say, for example, you look at any retail chain, all the outlets are closed and it's all online sales which is happening. So how does a customer go through that experience journey is becoming very, very important. And this is applying to almost all the industries at this moment. And that is a big differentiation to be looked at. Another thing is, business models are being questioned, both from a supply chain perspective as well as go-to-market perspective. And that have to be relooked in light of how the customer behaviors are changing. And there is significant amount of differentiation needed to drive a competitive edge. At the same time, companies need to ensure how are they able to optimize their costs and operate effectively. And that is why there is a movement towards or an accelerated journey towards cloud. To give you some data points, public cloud adoption is still in early stages. Only 15 to 20% of the workloads have moved to public cloud. And this can actually reach to 60 to 70% in the next 3 to 4 years. This will indicate you what is the kind of phenomenon we are talking in terms of movement which will happen. And this is actually applying to all the industries. It is not restricted to one or two industries, be it manufacturing industry or retail or any industry you pick. This is where these behaviors are moving. I would also want to call out certain things is vendors in this IT ecosystem, which are the major providers in terms of the software companies as well as the cloud hyperscalers. They are also quite bullish about the long-term spending of growth. In fact, Satya Nadella recently had spoken that technology spending, which is roughly about 5% of the GDP, will double in the next decade. And the process itself is getting accelerated. In fact, even Andy Jassy, who is the CEO of Amazon, his perspective is that cloud is still only 5% of the total global IT spending. And there is going to be significant acceleration towards digital by all companies. And in fact, Gartner, in their report recently, about the IT spending. Over the last 10 years, the IT spending has been roughly about 4% per company. Their expectation is between 2021 to 2025, this is going to go to 8%. And this is a published Gartner report, which is available on the web as well. So these are the kind of numbers we are talking about. What does this mean is every company is looking for using IT as a wedge for survival as well as growing. And that's where IT spending, at least I see in the next 3 years, is going to be extremely bullish. And it will be depending upon, which company is able to cater to demand more effectively. And that is what will, that's where the relatively growth rates will be there. And currently, this demand is democratic. It is not restricted to any particular industry, and it is overall. And at the moment, the entire IT industry, in terms of the service providers, all of them are getting benefited through this. So that's how I would say is the overall outlook for the industry looking like.
Sure, sir. Thank you. Before I move to the next questions, participants, if you have any questions, you could probably put that in the Q&A chat and we pick it up once we are done with discussing with our panelists. Moving to the next question. So, Ms. Priya, you did mention about the supply side issues. So I would like to probably understand that is this more from the point of the higher employee attrition rates, higher vision that you are seeing? There are
Recording in progress.
Aspect is building up competencies, training your staff, making sure you're, investing in their development or hiring the right people, per se. I think that is more important than just, sourcing candidates. What we saw in probably 2008, 2009, was a little bit different, or, what was 10 years back was just addressing apple to apple hire. That may not hold true now because it is changing in our industry. Navneet mentioned that it is changing even in cloud or digital industries. So we have to keep up the pace. Many companies now see that, even in our company, we are encouraging the online courses. We are also making sure that available to the people. We are, helping them, enroll them so that the requisite skills are core here. Without which, I think the supply would be, you can have multiple number of people. You
Recording in
commercial
progress.
increase in wages. I think the generation today is much smarter than what the earlier generation. They understand where the growth is going to be, how they will be positioned in the overall industry, and where there will be more learning abilities than just salary hike. Even if you're there getting, let's say, 30% rise outside, if you are able to convince them on the learning ability and how the positioning of a particular competency is developed, I see the trend is changing. I think the new generation understands that the technical capabilities and where they stand is more important than uh, just a little bit of shift outside. Having said that, because there is demand in the industry, the attrition will increase. I think all the companies, I'm sure Navneet will also share that in the annual operating plans, these sorts of assumptions are made. And these are pretty, I think, known and are very understood assumptions. I don't think none of the industry, stalwarts will be, bogged down with the attrition rate or the, wage hikes. In my view, the competency is where we need to focus and we need to really pay attention to.
Sure. Mr. Khandelwal, same question as in, do you think that we could see higher employee attrition? Because obviously, recently we've seen the attrition also peaking out. So do you think that there could be further employee attrition? And obviously, the wage inflation is also building up. But in your view, what could be the quantum of wage rise that we could see over the medium term, say 2 to 3 year outlook?
Yeah, in terms of your first part of the question, I would agree with what Priya mentioned. In terms of the short answer to it is yes, attrition rates are going up. Will it impact the inflation and the margins of the companies? Yes, it will. We have to also look at what has happened over the last few years. Okay, see, everybody has been working towards moving to digital, moving to cloud, experience-based selling. This has been there since, I would say, 2013-14, and it has been happening at a particular pace. Okay, what COVID has done is, which I called out earlier as well, as it has just accelerated the pace of trying to do it. So what companies were looking at doing in 2025 have to start thinking of doing that in 2021, 2022 itself. That is the biggest change. What has happened is our talent supply has not coped up with it. Because, in fact, I remember 2019 itself, there was a report by, I think McKinsey had given a report where they indicated that out of the engineers that India is training, or the graduates, engineering graduates, deployable pool or employable pool in IT services is hardly 4.5 to 5%, not more than that. Because the curriculum which they are actually learning is not in line with what companies need them when they have to make deliver work for any client. And that is one of the biggest challenges. So what IT companies have had to do is they have to groom talent, they have to train talent. You get a computer engineer in, then you train them and you make them billable. In fact, due to pandemic, most of the companies delayed their hiring plans of freshers, and that actually came to bite them when when this sudden rush towards digitization moved. And so there are not many people who are skilled to be able to perform those jobs. And because of this shortage of supply is where everybody is running helter and skelter. And you are seeing, I'll tell you, there are stories where we are seeing people who have decent knowledge about programming, who are full stack developers. They are actually going into the market and saying that I have got job offers from 10 of the top tier IT firms. And that's what is happening at this moment. That's because there is an acute shortage of skills. And actually, in the last 20 years, this is the most challenging supply side equation I have ever seen in my experience so far. We've even in the past, nowhere has it been that the supply side constraints or the shortage of skills has been so acute. And this is what is impacting. So which would mean in the short term, attrition rates are going to be spiking like crazy. You talked about, I think Gaurav presented that they expect it to go to pre-COVID levels. I would expect it to go even beyond the pre-COVID levels. And that would be the short-term thing. Also, wage hikes will also be quite high. In fact, there have been companies who've had to do multiple wage hikes in the IT sector during this time, just to ensure that they're able to retain talent. There is a significant amount of focus in reskilling people, as well as ensuring that there is good amount of learning provided so that you are able to get good talent in. And every company is talking about going and hiring freshers right now. I mean, how many eligible fresher engineering graduates you're going to get to be able to fulfill that? So it will take some time for the industry to settle on that. But in the short term, when I say short term, in the next 6 to 9 months, I do see attrition rates to be higher, wage pressures to be higher, and consequently, this will impact the margins of the entire sector. And it will depend upon how the companies are able to effectively manage this talent. And like what Priya said, how you are able to source the right talent and are able to retain them, which will be very important in defining as to how much are you able to restrict the impact of this on your bottom line.
Right, sir. So a follow-up question here, as in obviously with this kind of wage inflation and the employee attrition that we would be expecting, would it be possible for us to pass on the price increase to our customers, or it may not really be possible? I mean, especially for say certain commoditized or legacy IT services, what is the outlook there?
So that's a very pertinent point, Angel. Actually, if you see, IT services is a fiercely competitive industry. So there are multiple players who are there who want to actually look at how they can gain more market share. And multiple players include all the global MNCs, the Indian IT companies, and also the kind of IT companies who are delivering services from Eastern Europe. So there is significant amount of competitiveness, so which impacts the ability on pricing. Having said that, legacy skills, which is the run-on-the-mill thing, will always continue to be under pressure, because it's all about how you are able to drive automation and reduce costs through various other things which will come into play. Offshoring will be at the highest in those. You will be using a lot of accelerators and tools to deliver services and value to the clients, which will continually drive reduction in prices for those services. And that trend, which has been there in the last 4 or 5 years on the legacy side, will continue. In terms of digital skill sets, because of the scarcity of talent, and I'll tell you, even while we are talking of in general all the IT services companies, captives are also impacting this entire wage pressure and talent shortage, because they are also coming heavily in terms of trying to accelerate the people intake, especially in India, to be able to drive their digital agendas. So given that, clients will be and are being receptive for rate changes in the areas where definitely there is a good amount of demand, and you need to retain talent. So in general, I would see that IT companies will be able to pass on a portion of this incremental cost that they are seeing to their customers, while they will have to also look at managing their pyramids and how they are able to staff their talent and operations with much more rigor to balance out the balance part of it. So in general, you will see margins under pressure for the next couple of quarters, but as the pyramid starts working out, you will see that the companies will be able to recoup the margins, and as clients start giving rate increases, that will also start showing in their margins. So that's how I see the IT services companies will be able to in some form mitigate the impact that you are seeing in the medium term.
Sure, sir. Ms. Priya, if I could come to you, Mr. Khandelwal did talk about higher offshoring which is happening. So how would that pan out in the medium to long term for you? I mean, obviously, as travel restrictions ease and with the H-1B visa approvals expected to normalize post this change in US administration, in your view, how do you see the onshore-offshore mix panning out for the IT outsourcing industry?
So in my view, it will have a not a very significant change, simply because the fundamental model of the companies will remain same. It is the disruption that is bringing in the technical changes of delivery. The H-1B visa issue that you highlighted, that will look at the like companies such as ours, will look at hiring staff in US instead of visa. So that will put some pressure on the margins, but as Navneet said, I completely agree that all the companies will develop some tools or do some effective operations management to make sure that per unit cost to our customers remains in similar range. So I personally don't think that the offshoring will go under a dramatic change. It will continue as is. The market per se will have a significant growth, especially in US and in Europe. If you look at our market, I think there are public announcements made by all the giant companies that GM is investing some $50 billion in R&D. Volkswagen and BMW have already announced their investments. So largely the segment that we pertain to are not really the actual delivery of the car there, but it is working on the R&D side of the vehicle, which is more complex. So that demand will continue. It will continue to give the rise to the offshoring. This pandemic situation has, all the companies have learned that, you can actually deliver sitting at home. That will help. So, that's a short answer to your question.
Sure. And ma'am, a follow-up question to your first answer and on this offshoring. This has come from one of our webinar participants. So they want to understand that how much of the higher spend on automobile software is likely to be outsourced and offshored, And do Indian software companies have the skill set and mind share with customers to participate in this higher value adding segments of this transformational change?
Interesting question. I would like to answer this.
Yeah.
See, the vehicle mobility industry, like I said, is going through a lot of disruption. Vehicle is the most complex software gadget that today exists. So electronics in forms of ECUs, as sensors, advanced chipset, millions of lines of code are playing a differentiated role in this mobility industry, whether it is passenger car or a commercial vehicle. So this will enable various numerous new business models, and it will disrupt the original or the conventional models which were working with the large customers. I think the case is a fundamental domain that we're talking about. It is connected, autonomous, shared, and electric. The case model will remain. The ER&D spend in case will grow phenomenally. If I may have to quote some of the pundits of reports such as Gartner and other reports, they say that the CAGR of almost 30% will improve in this case area investment. And the software purchasing, if I have to say today, what the OEMs purchase, the software itself or electronics itself will be 50% of their cost, vis-a-vis that it is 25 to 35%. So their purchasing patterns will also change. So all of that will evolve into a large sort of data demand creation, not data, my bad, the demand creation. This will basically fundamentally go into reduction in actual production program delivering lower number of vehicles, but it will have more amount of software features or more amount of electronic features that will increase the price points for OEMs. So they are looking at enlarging their price points, and which is in turn helping companies such as ours, the software engineering services company. Whether it will increase the offshoring or how the IT industry in India will pan out, yes, tremendously will benefit. As I mentioned in the answer, I think it is the technical capability that will play a huge role as to how each player will pan out. We will see some of the new players coming in. Over the now last 2 3 years, I see these large IT giants such as TCS and Infosys. They are also venturing into engineering services company. So these are short signs of showing how IT industry itself is encompassing or embracing this change of offshoring of engineering services. Yes, certainly it will grow. Some of the reports that you can see online, I think what the recent one I saw is 14% CAGR growth until year 27 is what they have said. Whereas the actual production of cars will be only 4%. If that answers the question for you, Kinjal.
That's an interesting data point that you shared, ma'am.
Yes,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah. Mr. Khandelwal, coming to you. Obviously we spoke about these supply side issues, capabilities, etc., being an issue in India. So do you think that there would be further investments by the Indian IT companies or acquisitions to acquire these capabilities in digital transformation? As in, how are Indian companies currently placed with respect to the international competition here?
Yeah, so this is, as actually even Priya had alluded to earlier, this is a talent market right now. And having the right talent is what will determine your competitive edge versus others. And companies will go and do whatever they want to be able to do that. If you were to see in the last 2 years, almost, companies across all scales in India, when I say all scales, it includes the large caps, the mid caps, or the small caps. All of them have been doing acquisitions in the last 2 years. Most of them have done acquisitions. And if you'll see, all these acquisitions have been capability-led buys. This is trying to either fill in certain void spaces that you have, or to gain a critical mass of a particular skill set as a part of the artillery that you want to have. And so that is very consistent. Another aspect I would just want to give is, say, for example, see Salesforce, which is growing so significantly and at such a rapid pace. Between Accenture, Capgemini, they have roughly about 13 to 14,000 Salesforce certified professionals. Okay. If you were to look at the top 3 Indian IT companies between, say, TCS, Infosys, and Wipro, which may not be in the top 3, but if you even pick this up, all of these 3 combined also have roughly 11 to 12,000 certified Salesforce professionals. So, everybody is gearing towards it to create that kind of talent which is required to take their customers to cloud and help in their journey. So to get to this, everybody will continue to invest. There is significant amount of investment required to get this, say a Google certified professional or, Azure certified professional. And companies are focusing significantly into this by be it reskilling or introducing programs so that people can learn all these skill sets, or doing acquisitions. There are acqui-hires also happening, which is just talent driven acquisition, where you are not looking at probably customer contracts, but you are only looking at getting that critical mass of talent. So that is something which is happening, and they will continue to invest. And I see that with all of these things, the Indian IT companies will definitely be at a very good competitive positioning versus the global players. And people, the work will flow where talent is. And that's where, just going to the previous question, which probably you had asked to Priya as well, is about the onshore offshore mix. One of the things that you should understand is, pre-pandemic, why was on-site on a slight rise across companies? That was because it was primarily driven by digital, because customers were looking at that digital projects can actually be delivered only at on-site. What pandemic has done now is, you can deliver the projects even from offshore. And so the work will move where talent is. So if you have got talent, say in Eastern Europe, the work will move there. And if you have got good amount of talent in India, the work will move offshore. But on legacy skills, you will always be more offshore centric. On digital skills, based on availability of skills, will determine the on-site offshore position or mix in the long term, because more and more companies and more projects are being delivered in what I can call as a no-shore model. It is talent which is defining where the work will flow. And that's where the investments will happen in this area, as to how do you ensure that teams which are working across the geography can still effectively run a sprint in a digital way. Any project in a digital journey is always run in sprints. So how you are able to effectively run those sprints is what will determine the costs or the investments which are needed, and the eventual delivery model in the long term.
Sure, sir. So in the interest of time, I would like to take this last question, and the question would be for both of you, sir and ma'am. Sir, you did mention about that most sectors would be the drivers of this growth in the digital transformation that we are talking about. But any specific sectors that you think would be the largest driver or the major beneficiary of this growth?
So while every sector is looking to it, you would see one has to look at what is the penetration of IT, or what to the extent cloud adoption has happened in relatively across sectors, is what will determine which sector will play a more catch up. In general, I think ISG had done. ISG gives their surveys and studies every quarter, And I think about 2 quarters back, they had indicated that manufacturing is going to be a sector which has significant amount of investments being made so that they can actually capture this. A good chunk of manufacturing hardcore companies, like what Priya also indicated at the beginning, are moving towards very differentiated models, like as a service. I mean, like I think Priya also hinted that operation of cars could eventually become as a service model.
Correct.
Okay, so
Yes.
the investments are being driven in those areas. So I would say manufacturing definitely stands out as one of the sectors which will continue to, or which could probably lead the pack. Next, I would say is BFSI. Like, see, BFSI has been a sector which has always been spending significantly on IT, and probably in terms of the curve, they are much ahead. Still, that sector is getting disrupted like anything. The kind of value propositions fintech companies are bringing in. Traditional banks have to invest significantly to stay ahead of the curve. Otherwise, they will tend to lose their business. So it's a question of survival in that industry. So, if I were to call out, and this is my personal opinion, would be manufacturing and BFSI sector are the ones which probably would lead in terms of the spends.
Sure, sir. Ma'am, what would be your view on this?
Yeah, so what I think is, I don't think we will be able to predict as to which industry will, capture the maximum, so to say, share of the growth here. Every industry is going through this paradigm shift. Like we know that, every industry is making investments into changes. Every industry is building up their capabilities. So one has to look at apple to apple comparison. I don't think we should say in the whole fruit market how many apples will be there and how many oranges. I think we should need to focus on how the IT industry itself will grow and reap the benefits of all the segments here. That would be my response, Kinjal.
Sure, ma'am. Sure. Thank you, sir and ma'am, for such an insightful discussion. I'll now like to hand over to Shamsher for his closing remarks.
Thank you.
Certainly, I think the IT sector seems to be in a very interesting spot. While like any other sector, it is going through certain challenges in terms of hiring the right talent pool and managing the cost inflations. But I think these are really interesting times for the sector from a growth perspective. So thanks a lot, Priya ma'am, for sharing your thoughts and taking out time. And thanks a lot, Navneet, as well, for coming out and taking out time. It was really an indeed insightful session for us as well. Thanks a lot. Thank
Sure.
you.
Sure.
Thank
Thanks.
you. Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye.
Thank you.